Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and today I am back with a super fun video. I just recently did my 10 for life video, and one of you commented you should do a fantasy 10 for life because I had mentioned in that video that if My Insolence hadn't been discontinued, that would probably would have been in that 10 for life list, but because it's discontinued, it's so hard, it's like almost impossible to get. And it's incredibly expensive. I just didn't want to put fragrances like that on that list. But this is a great idea to have a fantasy 10 for life list with a bunch of discontinued fragrances. Like if I could have these in my collection for the rest of my life, and I'm gonna darn sure try. I don't know how successful I will be, but I'm gonna try to keep these in my collection for the rest of my life. So anyways, with that being said, let me jump right in. My background looks so dark today. I don't know why it looks so dark back there to me. It might not, but anyways, I hope it's not bothersome. But let's jump right in. So I do have a couple of Guerlains on this list, and we're gonna start out with a Guerlain. The first one in my fantasy 10 for life is Guerlain Shalimar Parfum Initiale. So this one is a little bit weird. It came and then it was discontinued, and now I think they brought it back. I read they were going to bring this back in like the super expensive bottles. It was going to be like one of the $360 bottles. I don't think that's the case. I did look on their website. I did see this, and I want to say it was like in the $140 to $160 range. So not cheap by any means, but also not $360. So this is technically not a discontinued fragrance anymore, but it was for a while. And when I got mine, it was, oh my gosh, I love this fragrance. It's citrusy. It's a little bit powdery. It's got something a little bit powdery in it. It smells a little bit like Shalimar, but really not. Like you can kind of smell the original Shalimar running through it, but it doesn't smell like that deep, heavy, leathery, almost tire rubbery Shalimar. Oh, I just love this because it's got this really beautiful brightness and almost tartness in it, but it's got this gorgeous, cozy powderiness. This is one that I am so sparing with because I just don't want to be without it. I just don't ever want it to not be in my collection. It's such a stunning fragrance. So that is the first one. That is Guerlain Shalimar Parfum Initiale. Okay, and let's just stick to the Guerlains for now. I've got 2 Guerlains, 3 Christian Diors, and then, no, 4 Christian Diors. 2 Guerlains and 4 Christian Diors, so we'll start with those. The second one is, of course, My Insolence. I do have a backup bottle of this. This is, besides Manifesto, this is the only fragrance in my collection that I have a backup of. I adore this. So a couple of years ago now, somebody sent me, and I keep it out. I'm gonna grab it because I do keep it. I do keep it next to My Insolence because to me it is incredibly similar. This is a big 4 ml, yeah, almost 4 ml sample vial of. This is L'Elixir Charnel French Kiss, and this fragrance, I even have it on my hand right now. This fragrance reminds me so much of My Insolence. And I got this one first. And then I came across a bottle of My Insolence on Mercari, which I had been wanting a bottle for a long time at that point. Thankfully, I was really lucky to snag it for a really good price, like in the $30 range. And I remember the first time I put my nose on this, I immediately thought of French Kiss. They're not the same perfume. I don't want to make it seem like one smells exactly like the other. They don't, but they're very, very similar. Like very, very similar. They have the same types of notes, just a little bit different. Like, I think My Insolence is, I can't remember. They both have citruses in the top. They both have some kind of a berry. One has raspberry. One has some other kind of berry. They might both have raspberry for all I know. But they're very, very similar. This has got, My Insolence has an Has an almond-like quality to it. Like almondy, Orris-y, heliotrope-y, that kind of a note. And so does French Kiss. They're very, very similar. Oh, I adore this fragrance so much. If this hadn't been discontinued, this would have very easily been in my top 10 for life fragrances. I just love this. It's just my kind of fragrance. It's because it's vanillic, and vanilla is my favorite. It is my absolute favorite kind of note. And I love this one because it's vanillic, but without being literally vanilla, it still has a beautiful freshness and brightness in the top. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. I just adore this fragrance. I could not live without it. This one I'm actually getting quite low on. This bottle is less than halfway full. My other bottle, my backup bottle, is 100% full, so thankfully I've still got quite a bit. But I just adore this fragrance. This is a top 10 for life. Like, not even fantasy, just like in general. Okay, let's get into the Christian Dior's. This first one, this would be a top 15 for life. I love this fragrance. It almost could have made a top 10 for life. It's one of my old signatures. I absolutely adore this fragrance. This is Hypnotic Poison from Christian Dior. This is the original formulation. The way you can tell, the original formulation has this red band around the neck. The newer formulation, I believe, has a gold band around the neck. I went ahead and resold my newer formulation because I knew with the old formulation I would never reach for the new one. And I don't wear this all that often anyways because this is an old signature, and unlike Stella, I did kind of get burned out on Hypnotic Poison because I wore it every single day for so many years. I did kind of burn myself out on it. Gosh, I love this original formulation though. The almond is so much more prominent in this original one. The anise or licorice is a little bit tamer. It's a little bit less prominent, with the almond being a little bit more prominent. Oh, it's just a stunning fragrance. I don't even spray this. You can see, like, I can smell it out of the bottle, but I won't spray it to smell it. I'm not going to waste a spray on paper. Like, I'm that crazy about it, but I do adore this. I've got about, I would say 40% left in this bottle. Oh my gosh, and I love it. If I could get this formulation of this fragrance, this would have easily been in my top 10. I would have knocked out Manifesto probably for this if this original formulation were still available. This one is also a beast. It lasts absolutely forever. The new formulation is so dismal. Back when I wore it as a signature scent, it was a beast. I could spray it on in the morning. I would still smell like it 10, 12 hours later. I mean, I could spray it on and go out of town. Like, I mean, there were times that I sprayed it on, drove to Atlanta, went and saw a concert in Atlanta, didn't get back until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I still smelled very strongly of Hypnotic Poison. So and that wasn't the first formulation. I think this has been through a couple of reforms because that wasn't even this original formulation. It was, I think, the one that came after this, and it was still a beautiful beast. And it's just not I just sold a bottle of the very newest formulation, and it paled in comparison even to the one that I wore when I wore it as a signature. But anyways, I adore this. I'm gonna stop talking about it. I love it so much. Like I said, this would have knocked Manifesto out if I could have still gotten the original formulation. Sticking to poisons, this next one, holy cow. This is such a stunning fragrance. I have about as much of this one left as I do Hypnotic Poison. This is Midnight Poison. And this is such a beautiful rose patchouli. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. It's just a beautiful, deep, dark rose patchouli. This is like what a black rose would smell like if a black rose had its own scent. This is what it would smell like. This is dark, syrupy, beautiful, decadent. Just a stunning fragrance. If I could get this, again, this is my fantasy 10 for life. I adore this fragrance. This is another one I won't even spray. I can still smell it so strongly through the bottle. I don't even need to spray it, but I don't spray it unless I'm going to wear it, because I won't even waste one spray on paper. Yeah, I just adore this fragrance. It's such a beautiful one. I've had so many people tell me that I think it's called L from YSL, if I'm remembering correctly, that is supposed to smell like this. Every once in a while I come across a bottle of L and then I'm like, do I really need it if it smells just like Midnight Poison? I would love to get it though, to compare it to this. I've heard that the Dior dupe of Midnight Poison is really, really good. One of these days I'm going to pick it up and definitely test it next to this so I can let you guys know if it is a good dupe. If people say it is, though, and I think another fragrance reviewer even told me that. So if she says so, I absolutely trust that it is a good one. But anyways, that is Midnight Poison from Dior. And then the last Dior that, holy cow, this is such a, I don't know why they ever reformulated this or got rid of this version. This is Miss Dior Cherie from Dior. This is the Eau de Parfum formulation. This is, I've got a huge bottle. This is a 3.3 or 3.4 ounce bottle. Yeah, 3.4 ounce bottle. This is green mandarin, caramel popcorn, wild strawberry sorbet, fresh patchouli, and crystalline musks. I love this fragrance. This is one that I will spray because I have such a big bottle of it. Oh my gosh, do I love this fragrance. And mine is still fresh and beautiful. You can tell that some of the top notes have burned off on this one or are kind of not there anymore. But boy, when it starts to get down to the middle and the deep dry down, you just get that beautiful Miss Dior Cherie, like the old school Miss Dior Cherie that I love so much. I really want to try the Dior dupe of this as well, because unlike some of my others, like my Midnight Poison, my Hypnotic Poison, my Vintage Addict, unlike these, I don't think this one is going to hold up for as long. I don't know why. I can tell a difference. I've had this bottle for a few years now, I want to say, and I don't think it's going to hold up as well as some of the others. I think just because of the lighter notes in it. Oh my gosh, but I love it. It does still smell amazing. And it still smells amazing when I wear it. And yeah, if I could still get this, I would always have a bottle of this in my collection, always. It's just such a beautiful, very unique fragrance. I do need to get a dupe of it. Yeah, a fresh dupe, because I would love to have like a very fresh bottle of something that smelled exactly like this. I love to layer this over. I think I've got a little pot of the Righteous Butter from Soap and Glory. To me, it smells exactly like this, or almost exactly like this. I love to always have a little pot of that on hand, and then I'll put that on and I'll layer my perfume over it, and it's just stunning. But anyways, that is Miss Dior Cherie Eau de Parfum from Christian Dior, the original 2005 formulation. I love it. Okay, last Christian Dior, and then we'll move on. This would not be a list without the vintage Dior Addict. I have a pretty good amount of this left. I have about a third of this bottle left, so it's full to about here. So yeah, I feel like I've got a really good amount of this left. I do still wear this every once in a while. Oh my gosh, yeah. I do still wear this every once in a while, but usually I try to wear my newer formulation just to save this one. This one I think is holding up so stinking well because of this dark blue bottle. Dark cobalt is such a good color of glass. Dark blue cobalt or dark amber glass is so good for preserving whatever is inside. And I think because of this dark blue cobalt glass, this fragrance is preserving so incredibly well. I can't even stand it. Like, it's so good. It smells incredible. I have a feeling that this smells exactly like what it smelled like when it was fresh. I mean, it smells so good. Like, it hasn't aged at all. And again, I think it's because of this good glass. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. This I almost get like a cinnamon. Yes, I almost get this beautiful, almost pastry like cinnamon note in the old formulation, in the vintage one, that you don't get in the newer formulation. The newer formulation just is a little less refined, a little less smooth. I adore it. The new formulation is still incredible. Like, this is one of those fragrances that thankfully hasn't been butchered beyond recognition yet. I hope they never do that. This is one that I'm still just as happy with the new formulation as I am with this one. But this one has a beautiful, soft, like, roundness to it that the newest formulation just doesn't have. This one has this gorgeous, like I said, almost almondy spice, like almost a cinnamon covered almonds quality to it. Gosh, I love it so much. It's so good. I'm so blessed to have this little amount of the original formulation. It's just incredible. So anyways, yeah, if I could get my hands on this one, on this formulation for the rest of my life, this would easily have been, well, it was in my 10 for life regardless of what formulation it was. It's a 10 for lifer for sure. I just love Addict. So anyways, that is the vintage Dior Addict. Okay, let's move on to some other fragrances. Next would be Love Chloe from Chloe. This list would not be a 10 for life list without a Chloe on it. And if I had to pick a Chloe, especially a discontinued one, this is the one I would pick. I adore Love Chloe. This, not only do I love this bottle, I just love the cap. I love the little chain. I just think it's such a beautiful, like, it reminds you of one of their really beautiful handbags. This is just such a stunning fragrance. It's a little bit floral, but it's like a powdery floral. Oh, like a soft, powdery floral. I just love it. It's so feminine and classy. It almost reminds me a little bit of like baby dolls or like a Cabbage Patch Kid, but without having that Cabbage Patch Kid scent, if that makes any sense. Gosh, I just love it. It's just a beautiful fragrance. I adore it. So anyways, that is Love Chloe. Next, this would not be a top 10 for life list without a good rose. And though Midnight Poison is a beautiful rose fragrance, it's got some other things going on in there. It's not just rose. Elie Saab Essence No. 1 Rose is stunning. This is like nothing but a whole bunch of different rose oils or a whole bunch of different rose essences. And that's basically it. It's a little bit dusty smelling, like, but not dusty in like old vintage antique. Dusty as in like powdery, like rose dust, like as if you crushed up or ground up dried rose petals, like what the dust would smell like. I get that in this. It's jammy, even though I hate that word jammy, but it is. It's a little bit jammy. It doesn't have any, from what I remember, it doesn't have any spices or anything, but you get this almost spiced rose quality about it. It's just a stunning rose fragrance. It almost reminds me of like a rose potpourri. Again, because of that kind of dusty rose, like ground up rose petal quality. It's just beautiful. I love this. It's warm. It's cozy. It warms on the skin beautifully. It's very syrupy smelling, very smooth. It's rose without smelling dated or like a mature rose. Oh, it's just stunning. So anyways, that is Elie Saab Essence No. 1 Rose. I adore that fragrance. Okay, next is an amber that has been discontinued, and oh, I love this amber. I don't have anything else in my collection like this either. I am going to start looking for there are some fragrances that I have in my collection that I talk about a lot that I know a lot of you wish you could get, but they've been discontinued. I'm really going to start searching for alternatives, and this is one of them, though I've never smelled anything quite like this. This is Giorgio Armani Si La Parfum. This can still be found. I found a couple of websites out there that I've never shopped on before, but I think they're legit, and they carry these. One is called like Beauty something. I don't know. I've been hesitant to link them because I am not 100% sure that they're legit. I think they are, but I don't want to I don't want to be the reason that somebody buys something that's not legit if they're not. But anyways, yeah. But anyways, Si La Parfum is a beautiful blackcurrant and amber fragrance. You get this yummy sweetness from the blackcurrant, yet it's still a really warm, cozy amber, but without being too spiced, without smelling like a dusty, almost antique-y kind of amber. It's not like your Halston amber. It's like a syrupy amber, a sweet amber. It's got loads of blackcurrant in it. Oh, it's just beautiful. It's a beast of a fragrance. I really need to find you guys a dupe for this because it's so good. Somebody out there, some dupe company out there needs, or like a clone house, like Duo or Alexandria or Laird. Somebody needs to make a clone of this because it's so good. So yeah, that's an amber I could not live without. This one I'm very sparing with. I only wear it a few times a year because I can't be without it. I just can't. So anyways, that is Giorgio Armani Si La Parfum. And then last but not least, this will be absolutely no surprise to any of you. This is my bottle of Stella Rose Absolute. This is very, very similar to the original Stella. This is like the vintage formulation. This is it just smells more intense. It smells exactly like Stella, but more intense. It's like a little bit heavier on the rose and a little bit heavier on the amber. It's so beautiful. I love it. It like really takes me back because it smells a lot closer to the original than the reformulated, or than the reformulation does. I love it. I'm going to test this next to the original formulation that my beautiful friend sent me a roller ball and a mini of. I'm going to test this next to it one of these days and see just how close it is, what the differences are. But I adore it. So I actually have 3 rose fragrances on this list, or in this list, and I'm not at all surprised by that. But yeah, this would be my last top 10 for life in my fantasy. I do keep this one in its box. Again, with that dark blue black glass, I think that one's just going to age beautifully. It's going to keep really, really well. Oh my gosh. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Both of those. My Christian Dior is so stunning. Even when it dries down on paper, it just smells incredible. And this Addict, I'm telling you guys, if you ever come across a bottle of the vintage Dior Addict, do not be afraid to buy it. It will most likely smell insane. Mine still does, and mine is from 2002. So, I guess that glass just preserves it so well. So anyways, you guys, that is it. Those are all of the fragrances from my fantasy top 10 list. This was a fun one for me to do. Thank you so much to the person who recommended I do this. This was a really, really fun one. I do hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.